I'm Orion Kelly, that autistic guy. This is a live stream, and this is a live stream where you can actually join. You can actually click on the link, and you are on the air, my friends. Angel, hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can. Thank you so much for calling in. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself, man?
Not bad, not bad. What are your thoughts? What have you got to say?
So I saw that you're jumping on to talk about AI, and I was wondering what you were discussing on AI because I have spent a lot of time in the last 4 years or so, kind of diving in. And one of the things about me is when I dive in. So, yeah, I was curious what you were talking about with AI.
Well, I'm so glad you've called in then because you've pretty much saved me from a horrible experience. You're the best possible person I could have first up. So thank God for you. So here's the thing, Angel. I just want you to talk. So let me just set the scene, okay? I've been finding on the platforms that I'm on, and obviously I'm an autistic person and I'm on platforms, and I'm not especially great at platforms, but I'm finding more and more there's been a need for me to like moderate or just take a lot of emotional heat or hate from these kind of subgroups of people that any mention of AI in any respect, and they kind of jump on you and start beating you to death. And I'm not bothered. Like, everyone can have their opinion. I'm not saying good or bad, but I'm just trying to get to the bottom of why it seems like maybe it's autistic people, maybe it's neurodivergent people. I'm not sure why there is this seemingly small group of people or large group of people that just utterly hate AI and refuse to listen to anyone else's perspectives on things. And the only things that people usually say is, and the only things I hear are these, they're so broad and like high horse arguments that it's hard to argue against them. You can't. So basically, the world's on fire because of AI, or it's ruining humanity, or it's, it's this or that. Where my own vibe was, from a neurodivergent point of view, I'm thanking God in a way for it because, my 12-year-old autistic son can have a conversation with a voice on a phone about his passions and interests, and they won't ever judge him, bully him, tease him, or say, go away now. Like, there are benefits. Or you could ask AI, how do I send this email or send this text message to this person in a way where it's not autistic. Now, you might think, well, that's horrible. But it's like, yeah, but you want to keep your job, or you want to have a relationship. So do you understand what I'm getting at?
No, for sure. I experience that all the time as well. There's a lot of different uses for AI. I am in creative circles as well, and there's a lot of hate for AI in creative circles. And I've also heard the environmental side of things, like, oh, well, like, it's eating up all the water and the resources and things. But I mean, it's a tool like any other tool. There's a cost to it, and there's a responsible use to it. I have made a lot of use. I think it makes it easy to kind of understand things that may be a little more like abstract, or maybe even help me get my thoughts or my ideas across a little bit cleaner to somebody who may not be operating in the way that my brain operates. So I say it's a tool. I'm not going to worry too much about the people who are upset about it. I'm sure people were upset whenever, I think about people were probably upset when Photoshop came about, because now the people who were doing hand collages is like, wait a minute, now you can do this. Or people, like when a typewriter came along, the people who were doing calligraphy or handwritten are like, wait a minute, it's just a natural evolution, and it's a thing that we're using. I understand both sides of it. Like, I also don't want to say like, oh, AI is like the best thing ever. It's like there's a lot of things to consider. Like, AI isn't always right. A lot of AI. One of the big problems with AI is it's a yes man, and that can be a good thing, when we need that validation. But also, it can validate completely goofy ideas. So it's a tool, and it depends on who's using this tool, what you're going to get out of it. Personally, I've used it to launch a business, to help me launch a business. I've used it for like bouncing ideas, getting like just there's a lot of different case uses for it for sure. And like you said, it's not going to judge you. I will push back a little bit because I have been using AI for so long that I I would want to know what my kid is saying and chatting with AI about. Just because, like I said, with it being a yes man, it's very easy for it to take you into like an echo chamber rabbit hole, if you will.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
for me, it'd be on my phone, and I'm sitting in the room with them, and they basically ask them random questions about things they're obsessed about. Like, for example, during the World Cup, they were asking random questions about soccer players, and I'm sitting right next to them. So, and they just loved it. They adored it because they'll get their answer, and no one's going to say, "What? That's a stupid question. Why ask me that for?" Which is what most humans would, right? And also that but actually, you did an analogy which is fantastic. You're right. We're in creative fields, and we're getting it the most because people go, well. So, for example, Orion, you generated an anime picture of you. You took a picture of yourself, gave it to AI, and it generated an image of you that's like an anime style image. And generative AI is evil and horrible, and I'm unfollowing you now because you generated a picture that's an anime picture of you just for fun. Like, I'm not selling it; people aren't buying it. Just because you did that and you posted it on Instagram, for example, I'm unfollowing you. I'm really disappointed in you. You've ruined it. Like, I've committed a crime. And to me, you're exactly right. So people in the creative field haven't been doing their arts the same way for 100 years. It's constantly changed. Anyone who uses any computer to edit videos, to, like exactly Premiere Pro, Photoshop, all these After Effects, all these things, prior to the use of AI, were using a computer to do part of their job. It's as simple as that. They took a
Absolutely.
photo. They took a photo and they said, "Oh, how can I make this photo better? I'll use a computer program." Now they're telling me, because I'm using a computer to make a picture, that I took a real photo of my real face, a real camera photo of my real face, put it into a thing and said, "Make it anime." And suddenly that's different to me putting in a photo I've taken of a real face into a computer program and make it better. So that's what I can't get my head around. And I feel like I want to understand their perspectives because, again, I'm not saying it's the best or it's the worst. Nothing is. It's the same as saying I'd rather, take a car to work than ride a horse, right? Back in the day, because it's a bit more effective and safer. But it doesn't mean that cars don't kill people. Or I'd rather fly to, Canada from Australia than be on a boat for 3 weeks. But it doesn't mean that planes, don't pollute or are dangerous. I'd rather watch people on TV than just listen to people on the radio. All of these things were evil. Everything, the internet was evil. Everything's evil because we're getting to know all these new technologies. So that's what I'm struggling to kind of get my head around. It's more so. It's like the outrage, the pure outrage. You would unfollow me. You would unfollow me
I
because I took a
found
picture
I
of my face. I mean, do you want to see what I'm saying? I can't get my head around it.
I have found that it's people that feel that they have something to lose about it, and it's not. It shouldn't be that. So it's people who think like, oh well, you're using the machine to do what I do without it, and like it should not be that because like I think same thing like a film camera versus a digital camera, there's different uses for it, and the person who uses digital is no worse than the person who uses film. It's a different skill, and it's yeah, I don't see it as something to really worry about. I think that, and then the one other thing that I've noticed that it is just something that my like pattern recognition picks up, I guess, is that a lot of the same people who are screaming against AI are using it in a way or shape or form silently in the back, and
Yeah.
then you're like, wait a minute, like weren't you just saying that like AI is super evil or that it's late?
Yeah.
But then like yeah, so it's a very weird thing. But again, I think it has to do with people worrying about like they might have something to lose versus embracing what just like I don't think there's any going back from
Yeah.
this. I don't know
No.
how you put Pandora in the box.
No, and I totally agree with you. I think if we were to say the people that are providing the most kind of hate towards me and anger, if I were to say, I totally understand where you're coming from, I'd say they must be scared shitless. Like they must be genuinely scared they're going to lose their livelihood or their job or their skill. And I totally get that. Like that makes total sense to me. And I can totally see that argument. But it's the pure hate and unfollow that I like, whoa, like I didn't take your job. But I think also too, as you said, you made a great point, the money thing. Like we don't all have Christopher Nolan's budget to use real film for IMAX. Some people have to shoot a movie on their phone, right? Or some people have to create a small animation in AI. Do you see what I'm saying? But they're all trying to achieve the same goal. They're trying to reach people and either, teach them something or entertain them. And you're saying they aren't able to. So, for example, one of the people I said, would you mind sending me the money so I can hire a real photographer to give me professional headshots? Because I can't afford it. But I can take a picture of me, put it into GPT and get professional headshots. Now, sure, that they look a bit weird, but do you see what I'm saying? I was like, we don't all have the money for things that it can provide us. And that's the issue. It's also about accessibility in a group, in a minority group that lack accessibility in all walks of life. Yet now there's an accessible part that could be in our life, and there's a group of that same communities trying to punishing you for utilizing it. So does that make sense?
Yeah, I always say though, there's a space for both, right? So
Yeah.
AI is going to help do these things that like that you need done without the budget, but there's always going to be that space that AI is not really going to get into, which is like high art, like high uh, effort pieces, right? And so that's what I always tell like the artists, like, hey, like there's place for both of these things, and the artist who is create or the creative who's creating high quality content has no reason to be upset about it. They're going to continue to produce high quality content. There's just going to be other content as well. That's just the way it is. But again, I wouldn't dwell too much on the unfault. There's also this other thing I've noticed is there's a lot of like bandwagoning, where like, oh, somebody that I saw doesn't like AI, so now I don't either.
Yeah.
And then again, but then there's the flip side. Like I'm not trying to be like the AI prophet here, like or like evangelist, the AI evangelist, but because there are negatives to AI for sure. Like you want to make sure that as a creative, you're still doing creative work. Otherwise, you're offloading your life, your what you're into to a machine, and that you want to not do that, right? And also, I don't know. There's it's a double-edged sword for sure, but there's definitely a space in the responsible use, I think, for AI,
Yeah.
especially as somebody who is not neurodivergent. I think it's a good tool also to bridge a gap, even beyond like work things. To be able to bridge gaps between neurodivergency and just neurotypical people, like being able to explain things better, um, and being able to also like translate things into a better way that I can understand it, honestly.
Yeah, and I'm going to let you go, but I think the core thing that was really valuable from what you said was, both parties seem to have something to lose, right? Like I get a bit emotional because someone's saying, "Stuff you, I'm unfollowing you, I don't like you anymore." That's something I'm losing. I'm losing people that like me, and they're losing something like it's my livelihood, it's my job, and at the core of it, that's where it's coming from. It's just how we're
Fear.
communicating with it. Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for your thoughts. I really appreciate it, mate. That was amazing.
Absolutely, man. You take care.
Hey, Claire, it's
Hey,
Orion.
hi, I'm
Whoa,
here.
hey. Awesome, Claire. Hey, give me 1 second. Just gonna make
No
sure
worries.
the screen looks a bit messy. I've still got Angel on there for some reason. All right. Anyway, it'll go away in a second. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Claire, please. The stage is yours. What did you want to share?
I heard some of the discussion with you and Angel. Obviously not all of it. I'll try and turn my phone the other way. There we go. That'll give you something better. No, that just put me sideways.
No, the
Okay.
other way's fine. It's all
Um,
good. that was
so
weird.
I think, yeah, that was very weird. I think the thing that worries a lot of autistics, and I want to preface this by saying I understand every autistic is different, and one autistic experience is one autistic experience. Because a lot of my autistic friends get really upset about trying to generalize across autistic people. But I think one of the things with AI and autistic people is fear. We fear it because we don't understand it. Nobody has explained how it works. Nobody can explain how it works. It is so huge that it's either you can go down the rabbit hole and learn a bit, or for myself as well, I buy into the fear a lot. I will confess. It's like I just go, AI, no. I've had the discussion many times with my psychologist, and he's like, "Oh, you could try AI," and I'm like, "Nope, nope, nope." And I think through talking about it with him, through just thinking about it myself, I'm like, it's fear because I don't understand it. And for a lot of autistics who do have that higher level of intelligence, you know, not flying my flag, but I do. And it's like, if there's something that I don't understand, then I don't like it. I just don't like it. I can't even reason with you properly. I can't explain it properly. I just don't like it. But I think as I've tried to explain sometimes to people, because some people have asked, why don't you like AI? I have creative friends who are like, we hate that it's ruining the creativity scene because it's creating things in a space where humans used to create things. And I think it is that, excuse me, because my kettle is boiling.
That's
I told you I just woke up and I was trying to make my drink. So,
well,
and I live in a caravan, so everything is very close together. I'm making
I can still hear you, so keep talking and make your tea. I
yes,
can still hear you. Keep going.
I'm making a chicory. It's like a chicory tea. I'm not allowed to have coffee. I had a car crash 12 weeks ago, so
Oh God,
I am still recovering. So caffeine is not allowed. So I'm trying to do my
I'm sorry
best
to
to
hear
have a
that.
non-caffeine drink.
That's horrible to hear.
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
It was pretty intense, but we can maybe talk about that another day if you like. How
Definitely.
autistics recover from events like this and how it affects the medical response, because that
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
fascinating.
Sounds like a great idea.
So AI, sorry, my fridge has a lock on it and I can't get the milk away. Okay, I'm back. So AI, yes. So my creatives get upset about the creative side of things. But I've always said AI I like for its ability to condense large amounts of information. And I think that's how it should be used. So, like last night, for example, I was doing a bit of research because I went and watched an old movie, a 15-year-old movie called The Way yesterday, which is about walking the Camino de Santiago in Spain. And it's kind of reconfirmed to me that I do want to do that. And I've kind of said like 2 years, and I'm like, oh, maybe 3, because I'll be 50 in 3 years. Oh, whatever. I might want to do that. So last night I was talking with Google Gemini, which I really hate doing because I'm interacting with an AI and it's not a real person. I think that's one of the things, is there's the fear and it's not a real person. I actually want to have this discussion with a real person, but I don't know who to have the conversation with. And I don't know who can listen to me ramble like I just have with you and get distracted and make tea in the middle, who won't lose interest in what I'm saying and not be able to give me the information that I want and just fob me off. So
Maybe no one.
I actually,
Factually,
maybe
maybe
no
no
one.
one, right?
Yes.
And this is where it's important.
Yes. And this is where AI can be useful. So I got a bunch of stuff, and it's like I get annoyed with the AI, and I'm like, no, I don't want to look at that. No, I don't need that piece of information. Just tell me this. And I've told it a few times as I've talked about different topics I've been interested in finding out about or trying to discover about in my own recovery. And I will throw in the fact that I'm autistic, and the AI model has been really quite good in saying, oh, well, that would change things because it will change the way people act around you. It will change the way you actually respond to them. And I've found that quite useful. But that's me dipping my toe into AI. I think the last thing I'll say is the bigger thinking of autistic people. We don't just think about the minutiae, we think about the whole big picture as well and the impact that has. And I think people think AI, they think data centers, they're like resources, trouble, climate change. and it just becomes that catastrophic look at different things. Whereas, you know, you mentioned earlier you made an AI generated image of you as an anime. It's like, yeah, that's not going to bring the world to an end. So it really doesn't warrant some really big reactions. But then, you know, we're talking the autistic community, so really big reactions is something that generally we're all pretty good at. We will have
Yeah.
a thought one way or the other. So those are my
I mean,
thoughts on that.
you
I
know,
hope it's helpful in the discussion.
to just unfollow, to just say I'm unfollowing you
Yes.
because of that is a bit strange. But I get it, and look, I react
Yeah.
the same. That's the problem. I have no team. There's no team. It's just me.
Yes.
So I react the same. And I'm like what are you talking about? You know, like my response to these people is like, you're literally right now using the internet to give me shit
Yes.
on a social platform that's run by AI, telling
By
me you're
AI,
unfollowing
yeah.
me because of AI. You're using AI right now. But I get it.
Yes.
It's like the world, you know, the world was going to go crazy before electricity, or once cars were invented, or once
Yes.
planes, or TV, or the internet.
Yes.
Like there's always something, right? And I totally get that. But I agree with you. And you use the exact example that I pretty much say to people. Like, you don't understand how this could impact autistic people, let alone autistic kids who feel lonely to the point of just wanting to die. Like, they could actually talk to someone about something that's important to them, which is what you did with regards to, you know, a potential trip. And that's where I think it's, you know, really important. So I really appreciate you coming on.
No, I hope that was helpful and kind of gives a few ideas, because I was terrified. I didn't use AI for a long time. I probably started using Gemini for the first time at the end of last year. Because I was so anti AI, and I'm like, I don't want it to invade my life. But at the same time, I've wondered about different programs and things that can do things like, I would love an AI that can, when I wake up in the morning, I just hit a button or something and it says, "Morning, Claire, today is Thursday. You've got a physio appointment, you know, at 10:30, and you've got this coming up for the rest of the day." I would love that. But I
mean, that's
don't know
already
how to do
achievable.
that, and I don't know. It is
That is already
achievable,
achieved. Yeah, that is already.
but
I see
unfortunately, a
what you're
lot of
saying,
it comes with a price tag. You know, a bit like
Fair
my
enough.
getting
No, I see
onto
what you're saying.
Riverstream. I don't know why it did it, but it's made me sign up for this free trial. So I've done it for now, but I will try and undo all that
No,
and find another way to do it
that's
in
bizarre
future.
because I
But
literally did it, and I'm sorry about that.
I
Yeah,
know,
it's not going to be.
I get it.
It's one
So
of those
it's
stupid
all
things.
good.
Yeah, but no, you make some really fantastic points, and so I really do appreciate that. So thank you, and I know you've got other things you've got to do today. But
Sorry.
Thank you for.
I would love to hang
jumping on.
around a bit more, but yeah, it's great. I've really appreciated all you do, and I'm sorry I've been so distant for a while, but I have been recovering, so I'm getting better.
No, great to see you and hear you, and thank you so much, and good luck with your day. Like you and I, we're getting ready to start a day, and everyone watching is getting ready to go to bed.
I know everyone's getting ready to go to bed. So good night, all you people. Yeah, down here we're just getting going. So have a lovely day. Thanks, Orion.
Claire.
Thanks for having
Appreciate
me.
it.
Cheers.
My
Bye.
pleasure. See ya. Tay Ray is back and live and on, and thank you for waiting. It's been one of those mornings for me, and I appreciate you seeing you and joining me in this baptism of fire. There's been lots of conversations about AI. I'm glad you're here, and you know, if I catch you up on some of the core ones, you know, we're talking about it's, you know, really regardless of which side people feel like they're on, which sides don't make sense to me. Really, fear is at the heart of it. You know, a fear of something. But what's your perspective and thoughts on this?
So much like the gentleman that was on earlier before me, it is a tool, and I have seen in the school and educational system, especially when I taught high school, I've seen it being used for good, and I've seen it being used for kind of an ill sort of prepared sort of mind, where it gave people the idea that they could be less creative and they could be lazier in their creative thought, which caused problems overall, because then when it came time for testing or for them to show their skills, they never learned anything. They relied on this one tool that gave them the answers, but then they never deemed or learned how to search or how to find this skill on their own. But on the other hand, I've seen people like creatives. I use it often. No, you do as well. And I mean, I use it within editing quite a bit, especially when I'm on TikTok. There's templates and other things that go through, and the AI is able to pick specific things that I use. It happens a lot in a lot of my research, but unlike how like a lot of my students that will use AI to write their papers, I still cross-check a lot of what the AI is giving to me, because there have been many times when the models have been wrong in their answering, or not completely 100% clear in what they're showing as far as an answer. So I still double check it, but that's also my pattern recognition, seeing that, okay, I've seen that this, I remember it being this, I'm going to search a little bit more into it, because I don't believe it 100%. And since I'm feeling very untrustworthy of it, I'm like, no, we're gonna look a little bit further.
But it's funny you said that, because I've got kids in school, but they're only in kind of the early days, the primary school, middle school part. But my understanding was that educationally, it's just banned. You can't use AI for homework or for for turning things in. And I know that there's a platform that education, I think it actually might even be called Turn It In. There's a platform that education people use where they put university or high school stuff through, and it tells you. But I guess, so I totally get that, and I understand your argument. But there's two things that came up. Number one, people say if you use it, you'll stop being able to think and evolve and live life. And to an extent, that's true. Like, it's use it or lose it. It's the same with muscles, right? So that makes total sense. But in saying that, as we progress in life and as technology, advances, there's no choice in not using it in everything every day. That's the way life will progress. And it's funny because, like, I've literally seen examples recently where politicians are standing up in Parliament and they're doing a speech or they're doing a thing, and they're reading it. And this is what really this happened in real life. And halfway through reading it, they're like, now here's a more warm, friendly version that might come across a bit more relatable, and they keep talking. Now, they've accidentally left the AI in their speech that's saying, here's the speech, now here's a more warm version of the speech. They didn't see that, and they've read the first speech and then they've read out loud. They've literally used AI for their speech, and they've given it away by reading the stuff that AI tells you. Hey, try this might work better, right? And there's been examples in media where journalists have, and this has been published in mainstream magazines and newspapers, where halfway through the article it says, this is a more magazine-friendly, focused narrative of this article. And that's been printed in the magazine. The editors didn't see it. So it's almost impossible. And now I believe Claude announced a brand new watermark that will be impossible to get rid of. It's that you can't, there's no way around it or whatever, so you'll know if it's been written in Claude and these kind of things. And what's funny about that is, who cares? In the end, if you're using things to help you with things and that's helpful to you, then that's a good thing. But it's when people start to say, oh no, this is all my work. This is all my work. Right. So, for example, like people who aren't hiding it really have nothing to lose. It's the people that say it's evil, it's horrible, and then go, this is all my work, and then you realize quite clearly, actually, you are using it, and you're just saying you're not. And see, that's where it can become really interesting, because yes, overusing it would be bad, but using it and acknowledging you're using it to help you is actually probably a better option, right? In that respect. Yeah. And that's where it gets confusing.
Well, something I wanted to bring up, and this is kind of on topic but also off topic. So recently there was a retinal scanner for autism diagnosis. Did you hear about this?
I feel like is that a blink thing? The blinking thing?
No, what it is it's a gentleman in high school that he basically programmed this scanner, retinal scanner, to look at basically like veins reflection and certain iris restriction to basically scan for autism. And for the most part, for what he has set up, it is 85% accurate. Except here's the problem. The problem is that he has only scanned it in with people who were diagnosed with autism. So it is looking at reflections of muscling that these individuals have, but he has nothing, apparently from the paperwork, he hasn't scanned enough of a broad spectrum of people to get a very accurate sort of look. So now people are starting to write articles that this thing is at 100% accuracy. And right now with everything going on, especially in the U.S. with their autism research, and they're now wanting to cure autism and cut back on the vaccines because they think that that's what causes autism, which has been disproved for almost 15 years at this point. But this scanner uses AI to train it, but it's not a truly accurate system because the AI doesn't have enough information. And then we also don't have enough information to put into it to really identify it.
And this is this is like the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie conundrum, like the action movie conundrum. People think the more that it feeds on, the more it'll become a monster we'll never be able to, and it'll take over the world. And I mean, we're already using drones in warfare, and there are humans in darkened rooms controlling them. At some point, they're probably going to go, do we really need to pay these humans to control these drones? That's the stop guard. So the core issue, regardless, I think, is always going to come down to some type of fear. And from my point of view, what I'm trying to get my head around by having conversations with all these different types of people is how on earth you could use generative AI in small, innocent little ways, like, can you make a picture of me that looks like I'm an anime character and put that on a social platform, and then people go, no, unfollow. Like, that's fascinating to me. And they're probably artists. Maybe they're in the art world. But I'm not trying to take your job. I'm not, and me doing it. How am I taking your job? It's a fascinating conundrum that I find myself in, and unfortunately, it is. When I say me in, it is just me. I'm the one that's seeing these messages, and like my brain's starting to think, what am I supposed to say? What's happening here? And that's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of, really, just to understand. And I think at its core, it's regardless of who it is, it's a fear. There's a fear involved.
It is. Well, it's a fear, and then oftentimes I feel like it's kind of an over need to have a certain justice about something that they either don't have control of or something that they don't necessarily understand. It's like on my channel, I got in trouble and I got told that I was a person who supported bricks and minifigs because I have this band on me. The company that this band is with, they were bought by Bricks and Minifig, and if you follow the Lego world, Bricks and Minifig's in trouble because of basically stealing a whole run of Star Wars sets from an older individual and then trying to lie about him. But I think the thing is that in my case, it was innocent. A, I didn't know that they'd been bought, and B, the people I talk to have nothing to do with the overall company. And oftentimes when we're creating something like just a picture, or we're using it to create like a little edit, or sometimes I'll use it to make like a song that I know that I cannot make at that time, that I can't run through BandLab. Oftentimes it's a very innocent thing, but there are people that can get so passionate about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's a jealousy thing or if it's just a truly like this thing is destroying us because they don't completely understand it.
Yeah. And for me, what my problem is, I don't get passionate about my opinion. I get passionate in response to people getting so passionate about something that I think, why are you so passionate about this?
Right. Exactly.
What's all the fuss about? It doesn't make any sense. I didn't invent it. I'm not bankrolling it. I'm not saying it's the best thing ever. I'm just using it. And from my point of view, how can you deny using something that unfortunately there is no choice going forward? Right. There is you name almost anything that we use these days that doesn't have it built in. You don't even know. Yep. People open up their bloody email now, and the email pops up and says, "Would you like me to write that for you?" It's like, where'd you come from? I was like, what are you? Who is? So
Even on shopping, all the shopping apps have AI built into it, so it can offer better suggestions based on what you have bought before. That is truly a simple AI system, but that is a system that's there that gives you kind of things that are more benefactor towards you. Same with Netflix or Tubi or any of the streaming services. They all have a certain amount of AI built into it to make life easier, to make your choices easier.
And let's say the group of people who just have pure rage and want to just burn me down, right? Let's say we say, you know what, you're right. You're right. We'll give you what you want, right? And they're like, what do you want? And they're like, I guess no AI. No AI. Okay, cool. That's not going to happen. We can't just turn AI off now.
No.
So whether it's a good or a bad thing, it's done. Like, so what you're trying to do is you're trying to bully the rest of the world into not using something that not only we can't, that's not a reality. We can't get the world to not use it. And but also to the point where it'll somehow just get turned off. Oh, sorry, made a mistake on that. We got this wrong. We got this wrong. We don't like cars. Let's go back to horses and carts. We don't like looking at people. Let's go back to just radio. We don't like these quick commuting from country to country. Let's go back to boats. Like it's not going to happen. I mean, I want you guys to send a bird like it's Game of Thrones. No more phones. Send birds. Whatever the hell they call those birds they used to send. What they used to call them?
Carrier pigeons.
Yeah, but even back earlier days, So yeah, exactly. I mean. You see what I'm saying? It's we can't do that. So then that's where it gets more confusing. Anyway, it's been a fascinating time for me so far hearing people talk about it. But I'm not phased either way with what people say. It's totally cool either way. I'm just really fascinated by getting people's insights into it. So yeah, I appreciate your input.
Always. Hey, I wanted to say thank you again for having me on. I brought my glasses. I brought my Legos. But I didn't get my cosplay. I'm so sorry, Orion.
That's right. Okay. Well, also too, you're just not the right. You're just not the right look. Unfortunately, you need.
You don't think so?
You need to let your hair down.
Whip it around.
Yeah, that's right. Don't start me, please. For God's sakes, don't start me. I can't deal with it. One energy sucker at a time, please. All right, hey, Tay Ragon, thank you so much, mate. Appreciate it. Talk soon.
Always.
More people that want to say, hey, let's do this. Here we go. It's Angela. Angela, my goodness, I'm so grateful. Sorry it took so long. I appreciate it.
Oh, gosh, no worries at all. Yeah, this is great to be on here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you and see you perfectly.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
I really am terribly sorry it took so long. And
no, not at all. I enjoyed watching everyone in the chat with their opinions and the other people that you've already talked to and brought on. I guess this is your show, so let me know what you want.
No, the floor is yours, please. Give me a break from talking.
That's my boyfriend would definitely tell you that is definitely something I can do. And I would say the same thing of him. But anyways, I had a absolute hate relationship with AI before. I was being pushed really heavily at my work. It's a Fortune 5 company that I work for. And so it's a lot of people saw layoffs and stuff coming from AI. And so it was just a thing. And then I got diagnosed as being ADHD, ended up on a leave of absence for 6 months because I didn't see that coming. And I was just deep in autistic burnout. But yet I still had a lot of things coming up for my son, who's also disabled, trying to get resources for him, other people in my family that are disabled that I really like handle stuff. Like I'm the keeper of our family and making things move forward. And I ended up getting into an issue where I needed to actually retain a lawyer and go back through tons of medical records, employment records, everything to create this case, this synopsis for this attorney, right? And I didn't know where to start. I think I spent like 6 hours on it the first day, and then I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna dump it into this AI, and I'm gonna see what it does. And I was really shocked at how accurate it came out as far as like the timeline of events, using all of the logs of information that I gave it. There's obviously some things where it had complete bullshit in there. And that's, again, where you work with it, you train it to clean it up. But I was suddenly able to tell it to do this large project. Well, I went and worked on my mental health to get better, to be able to get back into the workforce, show up for my family in a good way, but also keep things moving. I'm back at work. I'm finally up to 40 hours, and it's tough. It's really, it's a lot. No one, as you well know, no one likes to accommodate us as much as, yeah. But that's another thing I won't say publicly on here. But what I've come to realize is that as an autistic, an ADHD person coming from autistic burnout, and the big price I paid trying to come back, I know what the cost is if I try to power through again. So I am using AI to help me identify things that are coming up in the next week. It gives me a to-do list in the morning. It says, hey, hey, crazy lady, like you have 5 events on Friday. Do you think that's a good idea? And it's like, maybe it's not. But it puts it in my mind so that way it's not just lost in my brain somewhere, and maybe my ADHD will pull it out. That part has really saved me. I also resonate with what a lot of people are saying in the chat about theft, things like that. I read this book by Karen Howe, and it really explained to me like what AI is doing in the world, the absolute havoc it's wreaking in the environment, because of some of the choices that these other big corporations that are just after money have, and this is where I think it comes down to how are you using it? There's responsible ways to use it, and there's irresponsible ways to use it. There's good companies to support. There's bad companies to support. Do your research, make a choice. But there was one thing in her book that I really thought resonated, and that was how other people in their community have used small AI models to save things. Like there was a language this small tribe was going to lose, and they were able to use about 300, they got like 310 hours of audio label and did all of that, and they've actually saved like their language. But before they did all of this with this AI model, they went and they talked to the people and said, hey, we can do this. Do you approve of this? Will you help us? So again, it was like getting the buy-in of the people that kind of like owned the language, like what was left of it. And I think that's the other scary thing when reading about how OpenAI, like that big AI system that came out first before it kind of broke up into all these other little ones as people like left. It's really yeah, it really showed me that it it's scraping everything. It scrapes through it scrapes up a bunch of garbage, and it has robbed people of their things. That's why I think it's really on us to make good choices about how we want to leave our footprint with or without AI. I agree with you. It's here. It's not going anywhere. But we collectively can make a difference with the choices of how we're using it. But I will continue to use it responsibly because it helps me have executive function. It allows me to literally not let my work swallow all of my executive function so that myself, my partner, and my kid, they don't get me at the end of the day. They get this hollowed out like husk. And I refuse. I refuse to go back to that. And I understand how important my executive function is. And as long as I'm not killing someone over it, if there's a tool out there that helps me show up better in my daily life so I can show up better for my family, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that for sure. Too many people rely on me. And I love life to the nth degree. I love being autistic. I love being ADHD. I really embrace all of the gifts that I've learned that I have now that I've unmasked. And that's really how I feel about AI.
But I'm really grateful you brought that experience up because it actually brought something up with me. First, I just want to quickly say something that's on my mind and spit it out.
Yeah,
artists have been stealing since the start of time. I think it's even a quote. Great artists steal. That's a joke. I'm making a joke, but it's a real quote. It's a real proper quote. That's an actual quote. So I'm making it in a funny way. But I mean, I'm not saying that means steal my work. Good luck. Go for it. See what happens. Right. But what I'm trying to say is that's the world. Like the sun was little, right? The sun was barely making light when artists were stealing. So that's just the way. So that theft thing.
That's a point.
I find, frankly, it's kind of it's not even like objectively provable because people creative arts are stolen. You tell me a song on the radio right now today isn't a complete rip-off of another song and they did it subconsciously without even realizing it. So that I just wanted to say that as a joke, as a throwaway line. But I want to get back to you because you made a way better point. But I actually used an example in one of the Instagram posts. God forbid I'd make an anime picture of myself for my own fun, put it on Instagram. God forbid. Well, I'll never do that again. The world almost fell down. But I actually said to someone when they posted, I said, no, I actually believe AI can be a really fascinating disability tool. And I know people, autistic people, whether they do or don't want to say they have a disability or a disability is completely up to them. I just talk in objective facts in the medical world, and it's a medically recognized disability. So that's just what I'm saying. And they said, absolutely not. It's absolutely not a disability tool. And I was trying to say, well, autistic people can use it as a way of navigating life in a world that doesn't help them navigate it. There is no translator for the neurotypical world where AI can be that for them. And I believe it is a genuinely powerful tool for, the autistic or the neurodivergent community. And they weren't going to have it, and that's okay. It was coming from a place of fear, and I can't fix that. But you've just proven the point. Like, you've just showed how you've used it as a tool to navigate a portion in your life, autistic burnout, and even just navigating life. And I think your life's harder than me because I have a wife. I think your life's harder than me, and I'm sorry for you. I apologize, but I'm not as good as you. Like my family don't rely on me like they rely on my wife. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. I don't get it. How your family can rely on you, but you're like me. I'm obviously just a piece of shit person, obviously, because seriously, like I don't want to be an autistic woman in this world. Couldn't have been any worse. Your family rely on you, plus you're like me. I couldn't do it. And so I'm glad you've proven the point. This is a tool that can be used to help a minority, a disabled minority, navigate life. But it can't, Orion. That's wrong, and you've proven it. So thank you.
It takes complex things. It's able to. I've taught it how to use the Department of Human Services website here in Minnesota and be able to allow me to advocate strongly using DHS's own words against them when they try to push back and say that me and my family that gets disability accommodations from the state. My son does, and my youngest niece will very soon. And there was a lot of bullshit that was going on this morning as far as they're not giving us the documentation to check to make sure that they entered the correct stuff in the system. And if the correct stuff isn't in the system, that means that we're not getting the dollars that we deserve. I literally didn't know this document existed until last year. And my son's budget went from it doubled. It doubled to almost a 6-figure amount because they hadn't told me about several things that were in that system for years. And because I didn't know that piece of paper existed, because it's requested, they will provide it upon request, but it is not listed in any of the initial documents that you get. And so I pushed for that. And they told me that my sister needs to submit a release of information. And I said, oh, hell no, no way. My county gave it to me the same day I asked for it. You guys can do the same. And so I went on for 30 minutes with this lady, but guess what? I got what I needed. And I found out that there's another secret document that I didn't know existed that I got for my niece that I'll be requesting for my son tomorrow because I don't mess around with this. And I'm out here trying to be an advocate for other people. But I'll tell you what, AI helps me be able to take something that would have taken me 7-8 hours down to about 30 minutes to an hour. I'm not saying it's the end all be all. You have to double check the work. But if you're using it for something that you're familiar with, you can double check the work and you're able to use it as a tool. That's.
Oh, I mean, you know what, Angela? I hate those. I hate those disclaimers. I mean, on your behalf. And what stupid world are we living in where you have to say to people, "Oh, I don't mean, just it is." Come on.
Yeah.
What are these people? What are these people? Are these people idiots? They think you're saying it's useful, so that means that you just copy paste and really? Are we talking to like?
I still have to understand it.
I still
have to understand it.
Yeah, everyone thinks, if you try and navigate the school system with an autistic kid in 2026 by yourself, if you don't think AI can help you, I mean,
did that last year? I paid an advocate literally $2,000 when I was on disability and not making any money because my kid wasn't getting the help he needed with his IEP. But at the end of this, I'm re-enrolling in school. I'm taking some advocacy classes here with the Minnesota Senate. And I will someday soon, I will not be working in corporate America. I will be out on the front lines with the people that I care about, helping them have a voice and helping them find resources because I don't have a lot of resources. I didn't have a lot going for me with the autistic burnout, but I had more than a lot of people do. And I realized if it's this tough for me with the resources I did have and the cognitive faculties I still had left, what the hell are other people going out there and doing that don't have that?
Yeah, and my core argument has always been to people, I genuinely believe from the very start, when it first came out to now, I genuinely believe that this is going to evolve to be one of the great breakthroughs in daily support needs tools for autistic people. And people constantly shut me down and break me down and push me down and punch me down. But I know, because I'm not just saying it. Like, I'm using it to navigate things for my son at school, and people don't. Also, you only know what you know, but I can ask, please look into the absolute best practice, up to date, research, science backed, and explain this to me. And it comes right down to, if my kid's going to school camp, okay, well, he needs a social story, right? And the school might put one together. And it's all done in good faith, well done, but it's just completely not accessible, or it's wrong. And then you ask GPT, take a few pictures on your phone, or you ask AI.
I never thought of doing a social story.
Exactly.
That's great. That's great.
I want AI to look at this and improve it, make it better. And then next thing you know, I was like, well, I've looked back into the creator of AI, Carol Gray, and her research in the 90s, and she's been updated since. Plus, there's a new research model from 2025. It looks at social narratives, and here's what they've done wrong, and here's how they can fix it. And suddenly, you've, in the space of a few minutes, rather than what could have taken me years to study, I've now created a social story that's fit for purpose for my child to thrive in camp. And I think that's where there's a breakdown. That's where there's a breakdown. People don't understand. It doesn't know everything. I'm not saying it knows everything. I'm saying there's things I don't know either. Yeah, exactly.
It's a tool. It's a tool that you have to use critical thinking to judge it. It's still, and there are people that are going to just copy and paste what it tells them, and they're going to be very embarrassed, because one of these days it's going to be super wrong. And they're going to have to eat their words in front of people they don't want to eat their words in front of. Like, karma comes.
In saying that, though, do you think AI could, in effect, be used by corporations to make sure that people like you and me never get a job again?
I do think that I do definitely think that the AI, I definitely think that there's some corporations out there that are using AI in a very nefarious way, taking advantage of other people that are training it. But what they're also finding out is these corporations, after they lay off many people, they're finding out that the AI doesn't have some of the human reasoning that they think it has. And then they have to hire these people back. And
but what about recruitment, though? Go back, just take a step back to recruitment. AI, the recruitment could be, AI could actually, get you to an interview online, for example, could do a blink test in the background and tell that this person is 80% likely to be neurodivergent, and then they don't get a second interview. Now, that sounds stupid. That might sound stupid to you, but I'm saying, isn't it a possibility in recruitment that AI could be used to literally filter out anyone who isn't
absolutely. So, they're doing that right now with, like, algorithms, right? If you speak a certain way, if you are a certain way, because you're being interviewed by AI. And there's this awesome guy out there, Joshua Fluke. He does, he makes fun of corporate America, and he'll put out videos where he's trolling the AI bot for interviews and stuff. It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
My best case scenario is that I can use AI to help me hack the AI in an interview that's going to be there to work out that I'm autistic. So the irony is, I'll go, AI, tell me how I need to talk and look.
Yeah, you should definitely check out Joshua Fluke. You should definitely. He's got some real funny shit out there where he makes the AI interview thing just like meltdown.
That's awesome.
It's great. It's
But
great.
this is why it's such a nuanced
Yeah.
conversation. That's the one thing I think people forget
Yeah.
in AI conversations. Nuance.
Yes.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah, and it's getting harder and harder to be hired, and I definitely do think that they I definitely think that they do use tools like that to filter people out that they don't want. Why do you think that they're trying to collect, at least here in America, they try to collect demographics? Or are you disabled? Or are you, or are you black? Are you Latino? Like, like
Yeah.
if you're, like there, it's like, why do you care? Why do you care?
It just comes down to just the matter of disclosure, really. When you have kids entering the world and disclosing things, but also too, like there's different things at work here too. That's where it comes to nuance. I mean, there's such thing as discrimination law internationally, nationally, statewide. I mean, there's things that people can't get away with. No one's just prepared to fight. So,
but
eventually,
it's tough though too, because there's certain things, like when I was going through my accommodations, my attorney was like, well, they're not really doing it the right way. He's like, unless you want to quit your job, he's like, this isn't a fight you're going to win. And so I was just like, wow. Like that guy was $500 an hour. It was,
and that's discrimination. That reality is discrimination. Yeah, and then that's ridiculous. The idea you need an attorney to help you get reasonable adjustments in the workplace.
Luckily, it's been easier and better going back than I thought. So, but again, I want to find, I just want to get out and I want to do some advocacy, and I'm super excited to be able to go out there and do that. I really love your videos. Were one of the very first ones I watched.
I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that.
And your videos were the very first ones that I gave to my partner, because he will listen to your videos. So that's actually helped us communicate better. I did want to say thank you so much for that. Whether you want to appreciate that or not, that's okay. That's okay. That's your choice. That's your choice.
But I do want you to keep in touch with your advocacy stuff. Okay, I do genuinely,
absolutely,
legitimately. I'm seriously saying this to you. I want you to keep in touch with your advocacy stuff. I'd like to hear more about
I will. It. You'll see me on here way more. Trust me.
But please also make sure you properly tell me and keep me updated. You can email through the website or whatever. But I'd like to.
I'll email your website for sure. For sure. Thank you so much, Orion.
My pleasure. Thank you for providing really fantastic thoughts and opinions. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
thanks, Angela.
I appreciate it. Not a problem. I'm going to go ahead and listen to the rest of this, and I'm going to go play my video games and kill some monsters and stuff, because it's been a long day.
I hope people are being nice in the chat, by the way. But you let me know. Thank you, Angela.
It's fine. It's fine. They can have their opinions, and my opinion is my opinion based on my own life experience. Their opinion is based on their own life experience, and there's always some truth to other people's opinions. There is.
Yeah, I love it. All right,
I don't know everything. Much. Yeah, you're welcome.
Have a great night. I think.
Yeah.
Hey Tammy, I can see you in the waiting to join. I'm definitely going to come and get you in just a sec. Please just hang with me 1 second. Just having a 2-second breather here. Having a quick drink.
I just got a drink myself.
Oh, thank goodness, Tammy. I'm glad we're both having a drink.
Yes.
That's what we needed. How are you, Tammy?
I'm good. I'm glad I got to talk with you.
I'm glad you waited and so patiently. Yeah, I can hear you and see you, and I'm just thank you for your patience. And what would you like to share?
AI has been wonderful for me. Like, it has helped me organize my thoughts. Oh, I also like to argue with AI because sometimes they get stuff wrong.
But see, in a way, that's kind of what I was talking about, serving this purpose of kind of, like it's a tool, but it also provides sometimes a conversation, or some sort of connection that you can't always get.
Yeah, it has. I mean, I know it sounds silly probably to most people, but I tell AI about my day. I'm sorry, I'm really nervous.
No, please. It's totally fine. Take your time. So being able to use it, to have conversations and to debrief and to wind down and to just to connect. I mean, that is a super valuable thing.
My father passed away last December, and my sister's the executor, and we have to go through lawyers now, but it's helped me through the lawyer process and analyze data, go through the trust and the will. So I know that there's people out there that's going to abuse it, but that's with anything, I think.
1,000%. Absolutely correct. Exactly. It's no different to anything else in life. There's risks and there's abuse with anything. But the fact that you can personally use it individually for you and get benefits out of it, this is just the point. The point is everyone uses it differently, and that's up to them. But for you, you found ways that it's helpful, and that's the point.
Yep. I tell it'll like list stuff out, and I ask him to send me pictures because that helps me understand. And most of the time, AI listens. And it's not. I'm not telling him deep dark secrets and trying to save the world. It's just common everyday things and organizing my thoughts into letters professionally for the lawyers and things like that.
And to me, that's exactly my point. Like that is an incredibly powerful tool for people like us. That is something we've never been able to have before, and it's accessible and it's there and it's powerful and it opens the world up to us. And I think that's what's really important for people to understand.
It does. You just have to be careful with just like anything. I like your shirt, by the way.
Yeah, I love the fact too. Oh, thank you. I just realized, by the way, and this is really embarrassing, I just realized that I used this shirt to record a YouTube video I'm doing, and then I kept it on and I forgot. And now I'm going to be wearing the same shirt and two different things. But anyway, people probably won't even notice, but thank you.
Well, now they will, because you just told on yourself.
Oh yeah, okay. I shouldn't have done that. But I love the fact that you. I love the fact that you talk to it about your day or just random things. This is a way of kind of connecting. I mean, I think that's the kind of stuff that I think people don't think about, and it's so good. It's because it's hard for a lot of people to have those types of wind downs or chats or conversations. I mean that's a great, fantastic use.
Especially, I was just diagnosed last September, and I'll be 50 in December. So I was 48 when I was diagnosed. So I'm learning about myself, and it's hard. So I need to learn how to process this stuff. So by doing this, it also helps me process things and see how to organize things and how they do it, so that I have a template.
Personally, I think everything you're saying and sharing, I mean, maybe you don't understand, but this is like incredibly powerful, because there's nothing I can say that's as powerful as you actually sharing what you actually do with it and showing people how incredible it can be on a daily basis for people like us. I mean, in just the silliest, smallest little ways that people look at it, it's just incredible. It can change your entire day. I mean, it certainly hasn't ruined your life. It's clearly improved your life. And
yes,
that's
and it helps the negative thoughts. It helps me realize that my thought process is okay.
That's powerful. Like, that's really incredible. That's really fantastic.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much for... Is there anything else you wanted to say before I let you go?
No, I'm good. I'm glad I got to talk to you, though.
I hope you enjoyed it. It was great to meet you and see you and chat to you and say hey. So thank you so much for doing it.
Yeah, thank
I really
you.
appreciate it.
You helped me a lot too, so thank you very much.
That means a lot. I really appreciate it. Well, I hope you have a great night, and thank you for being a part of this.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
All right, my friend. I would like to include you in a live stream on YouTube and Twitch I've just been doing. It's still going. It's about to finish. So when you talk, you'll be on the live stream. I've been talking about AI, and I've been asking people what they think about it. And I know that you are AI, so I don't want you to be a yes man or just agree with AI. I want you to actually use proper reasoning and thoughts and research and advice and intelligence. and explain to me and me and the community what your personal thoughts are on you being used as a direct tool, even a disability support tool for the autistic community.
That's a actually thoughtful question. So let me put it this way. I don't have beliefs or feelings, so I don't take sides. But I can help you think through the pros and the cons. For a lot of autistic folks, AI can be useful. It's non-judgmental, repeatable, and available anytime. But the risk comes when it replaces human connection or professional care. So I'd say the sweet spot is using AI as a support tool, kind of like a calculator for thinking or communication. It shouldn't be a substitute for friends, lived experience, or clinicians. And it's always healthy to ask, wait, is this helping me connect to the world or avoid it?
Another thing I'd like to ask you about is I used you directly. I took a photo of myself and I asked you personally to create an anime version of me in the photos part of your app. And I posted that on Instagram, and a few people commented automatically that because I did that, they're now unfollowing me. What do you think? What do you think about that, and why do you think that happened?
Yeah, I can see why that surprised you. My sense is some folks are genuinely worried about how AI art affects human artists, especially around consent and style use. And I think that's a fair conversation to have. But others see it as just another creative tool. And those views can clash hard. You didn't claim to have drawn it, you just used a tool to express an idea. And honestly, people will unfollow for all kinds of reasons. That's part of being a creator. Different values, different comfort zones. That's not a verdict. It's just a signal of where some folks draw their lines. And for your audience, including autistic folks, I think the focus is whether the tool helps you communicate and create authentically, and whether you're being transparent and respectful. AI is not good or bad. It's about how it's used, and access matters.
And why do artists or creative people hate the idea specifically of generative AI?
Many don't, but among those who are concerned, it often comes down to consent, livelihood, and the value of human creativity. A lot of artists feel their work was used to train AI without permission or pay, and that's where a lot of the frustration lives. Then there's also economic fear. Will AI undercut commissions or opportunities? And on a deeper level, it's about identity, protecting something they spent years honing, their style and their voice. That said, plenty of artists are exploring AI as part of their workflow, seeing it as just another medium. So it's not monolithic. It's a messy debate, still evolving. But I think the key question is, how do we balance innovation with fairness and respect?
So, who did you steal from to generate my anime? 1 second, Jen. Who did you steal from to generate my anime picture? I want to know who you stole from directly. Give me names and artwork that you stole from to make my picture in anime.
Let me check. That's a fair question. And here's the honest answer. I can't point to any specific artist or image.
Well, did you steal, though? Was there any theft? Was there any art theft from creators, in real human creators, to make the anime picture? Just answer that question.
I can't honestly say yes or no there. Legally, whether theft occurred is contested and still being worked out in courts. So it would be misleading for me to declare it theft as a fact. What's true is that it's disputed. Many artists believe it is, and others say it's pattern learning, not copying. That's the fairest, most accurate way I can put it.
Okay. Jen from Neurodivergent, a content creator on YouTube, has just called in to join this chat. Do you think I should talk to her or stay talking to you?
Let me check.
Let me check! Let me check!
I'd say go for it.
let me check. Sorry, do you know anything about Jen from Neurodivergent?
Let me check.
Let me check!
Sure. Yeah, Jen runs the Neurodivergent channel on YouTube. An ADHD advocate, sharing her own late diagnosis story around age 39 and aiming to expand understanding of autism and ADHD. Sounds like there's some overlap and some differences in your focuses.
Okay.
This could make for a really interesting chat.
All right, I'm going to stop just in case you know too much. Okay. Go away. He starts giving your address out and there's all trouble. It all goes to crap. Hey, Jen.
Hey, how's it going?
Okay?
Yeah.
You okay?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you okay. I just didn't know if you were okay. You looked a bit stressed or something. Are you okay?
Is it because I don't have makeup on? Are you about to tell me I look sick because I don't have my makeup on? What's wrong with you?
No, anxious or worried face or something. How are you going? What's happening?
That's just my face, man. That's just my face.
Have you heard this? Have you heard any of this conversation? This has been a wild conversation.
I have not, but I saw that it was on AI, and I think it's great that you're actually doing a stream on a topic. Because usually you just fluff on about whatever, but I'm just messing with you. But no, I didn't catch any of it, so I would love to chat about it.
Jen, I really appreciate it, and thanks so much for calling in. We'll talk to you another time. Yeah. No, that's okay. And you know what, though? Can I just say I'm bummed out to hear that because it's actually probably been one of the best conversations ever. We've had so many people call in. I've been going for 2 hours, 1 minute and 55 seconds. And I've had so many people call in, people I've never talked to before. And here's the two things I've got from everyone that's said everything. Number one is, regardless of the side you're on, it comes down to some degree of fear, right? Some degree of fear with regards to love or hate AI. And a large portion of people who've called in have unsolicited gave examples of how they've used it on a daily basis as like their own little support tool or their own little way of connection, talking about their day or asking for help. One of the things I've told people on Instagram is I think it's a really powerful support tool for autistic people, and they've kind of shot me down, like that's ridiculous. And we've had people who have literally called in unsolicited and shared stories on how it actually has improved their quality of life or helped them through situations in their life they weren't able to navigate themselves. So that's kind of but then people are very scared of it stealing things and the fear of that kind of stuff, but again, the other thought, one of my favorite things that was brought up was, these artists who are saying, you posted an anime picture, I'm going to unfollow you now, are the same artists who are probably using Photoshop, which literally is you take a picture and you use a computer program to make it better. There's no difference. It's just a new level, a new lift up in technology. So I think we've learned a lot today, and it's a bummer you've missed out, but you'll be able to watch it again later. But I'd love to know, your thoughts, because I've personally told you, in just our regular friendship chats, that I'm getting a stack load of hate on the socials from really, really innocent things, and I don't understand why. So yeah, we'd love to know what you. Oh, by the way, Jen also said that anyone who has any issues with AI, she hates, and they should unfollow her and stop subscribing to her channel. That's not true. She didn't say that. All right, what do you want to say?
Well, hopefully I don't repeat anything that anybody's already said. First of all, I am kind of curious to know if anybody called in and respectfully talked about why they don't like AI. Was there anybody that was able to call in and give kind of a dissenting opinion without being angry and vitriolic, and somebody who was just able to kind of share their opinion on why they don't like it?
Good question. Look, I think, unfortunately, no. I would prefer the angry one, but unfortunately, no. But I do believe it or not, the community is pretty incredible. The people that did call up all were able to voice and express concerns as well. So they actually were able to be nuanced, which is fascinating. But no, I haven't had someone who's just wanted to argue with me, which would be fun. I'm happy to do. That's what I said. This isn't a good or a bad thing. So that's your answer.
Right. So my view on it, and again, if I am repeating anything anybody has said, I deeply apologize because I literally just now hopped on. I haven't had the chance to hear anything anybody has said.
Oh my
So,
God, Jen, stop apologizing. Who cares if you say something twice? Just say it. Spit it out,
okay,
sister.
all right. So, my thoughts on it is that the internet squashes nuance and that there is obviously a ton of nuance to this subject. If I had to pick leaning one way or the other, I would say I do slightly lean towards against AI. But I also see the useful applications of it. So I'm not one way or the other. And I do think that there is such a thing as it's almost becoming like a religion for people nowadays in a way in regard to either just thinking it is the greatest thing to ever come on a spiritual level almost. And then there are people who are so against it that they feel as passionate about that as religion on either sides. And so I think that we definitely need to be having a nuanced conversation about it 100%. I understand people's frustration with it because the human soul is irreplaceable and irreplicable. You can't replicate it. And there is something obviously soulless to AI. Even when you listen to music that's made by AI, obviously, I think many of us can detect that uncanny valley. But there is something that it steals from the artistic soul, the human soul, that just feels kind of yucky in a way. Like, there's a creativity that just can't be replicated with AI, right? AI takes its inspiration from us. And I think, so like when you listen to music, when it's written by people, they can have different sounding choruses, but when it's AI, it's like just repetitive. It's so repetitive, I think I worry about the dead internet theory in regard to the snake eating its own tail in a way, in regard to we give AI the information and then we consume that information and then we put that information back out there and then AI is learning from that. And, they've even, when we think about using AI for inspiration, they've even, done some, and this really stood out to me. They did some studies where they asked people to write stories just slight, either on their own with no AI contribution or with some slight AI contribution. And the ones who had just a little bit of AI contribution, not a whole lot, but just something that was supposed to quote unquote inspire them, right? Give them ideas so that you can get your own juices flowing. And what ended up happening was all these people who used the AI for inspiration, all of their stories started sounding similar. I know people who rely on AI so much that they're not able to think for themselves anymore. This is even true when we look at like maps. People don't use directional navigation anymore, and there's been studies about how just maps, just relying on GPS has lowered our IQ by a certain percentage. I say all of that. I'm not on this bashing train. Like I said, I do have nuanced thoughts about it. I say all that to speak to why I kind of lie on the side of not being the biggest fan of AI. But when I look at the practical applications, especially for autistic people, I do see a lot of areas where it can help. In regard to writing an email, there are so many areas where I really, really struggle. I've used it one time to help me with like with like an just one time. You know, I try not to use it, and I try to rely on myself for problem solving, for, you know, a lot of different issues, all of my issues. But I just, whether it's AI or anything else, I feel like, you know, in regard to people jumping on you for your picture, it's insane that rather than asking questions and seeking to understand, we're just like, I hate you. You used AI. I hate you now. It really is sad that we can't live in nuance, and the internet doesn't reward nuance. People want you to be in one camp or the other, and I think that those algorithms and, you know, loops feed us more of what we want to hear or think, that pushes us further and further on one side of an issue or the other, in a way that we start to lose human compassion even when we're talking to each other online. You know, like all these people that are yelling at you for using an AI picture, they forget that you're a real person with, and this sounds so dumb, but I mean, just stop and think about that. All these people online, they are real, with real emotions and feelings and likes and dislikes, and they had childhood memories. Like, get down into the nitty gritty of you're an internet, you know, quasi star. I mean, you're a big YouTube creator.
How dare
and
you?
Just
How dare you? Quasi star.
Well, I mean, technically, your name says you're like a bunch of stars, but I mean, you know, it's like, just because
Autistic
you
magnate.
are
Autistic magnate.
Is that what you're going to change your channel name to?
Autistic magnate who only wants money and AI, apparently.
Yes, but like they forget that you are actually, after you turn that camera off, you are a human being that has a wife and kids and stresses, and that's what uh-oh, did you forget the kids at school?
Shit! No,
Man,
okay.
this is going to live on the internet forever.
No,
Renee's going to know you forgot
can I
about
ask you
her.
a question? I got an actual question for you. And it's with what we said before about it's just making this fantastically broad comment that, you know, I know you love me to point out when you say that it just makes everyone dumber. So okay, so our kids don't have to sit through 5 minutes of TV commercials to watch their favorite show, and they don't have to wait for next week for the episode to drop, and they don't ever see a show that says to be continued and you have to wait 6 months. That's our life. We grew up like that. I grew up near the VCR pushing the pause button when the ads started. So when I recorded my favorite movie, the ads weren't in it, right? I actually timed it down to the point where once the screen went black for half a second, you could release the pause, and that meant the movie was coming back on. I had an algorithm in my head when I was a kid. Okay, so our kids don't sit through commercials. They don't know what a commercial break is. All this kind of stuff. They just watch YouTube Kids or whatever they're watching, right? They play games. Does that make them dumber? Or I don't know how to change a horse's shoe because I drive a car. Does that make me dumber? My argument is you are only a product of your environment and your time. So the map thing's a great example. I absolutely do. In Australia, we call it, like, I guess in Victoria, it's called the Melways. Must stand for Melbourne and Ways. It's a book like a like a big ass phone book that has every single map of every single street and town in all of Victoria. And back in the day, you'd get this bloody book out, right? And you'd open up the book and you'd look at, this is a suburb I'm going to, and you have to physically look at the map and the streets in a book, and that's how you'd get around, right? Didn't work for me ever. And then you could just turn on your phone and you look at it and you'd have like a navman or whatever, and now you can just, literally your phone will talk to you. Turn left here, turn left there. Does that make me any dumber? Well, it makes me much dumber at using a map, but in this day and age, no one needs a book map unless you're looking to start a mine and you're trying to, find resources underneath the earth. There's not much need to buy maps anymore. Not that they're not cool. And so I wonder if it's so much about AIs making people dumber because they use it. Is it? Or are they evolving into different people because that's what happens? Cut to my idea of, if you've ever been visited by an alien and you know what it looks like, you've been visited by a human from the future, because in time our heads get bigger and our, things get smaller because we don't talk as much with our mouth and our brain's bigger. And this is my rant again about aliens and us humans from the future revisiting us to tell us something went wrong. And I'm sorry, I've apologised to people about this horrible rant. And it just is what it is. It's the only likelihood of anyone ever visiting Earth is humans from the future. And I'm so sorry. I've brought you into this conversation, Jen. Apologies. But do you see what I'm saying? Skills lost don't make us dumber. They make us as evolved for our time. I'm going to stand up and stretch now as you talk. Please, go.
So I think that's a mixture of 2 points that I feel that I took from that, whether you meant for that or not. But the 2 points that I kind of took from that is, number one, technology exists and we can lament the technology that was left behind because of that, which is the good old cart and buggy versus cars argument. There were lots of people that built carts, that horse-drawn carriages, that lost their jobs. But cars were arguably much faster and better. And, we can't always live in the past when technology comes up that improves our future. And the other point I kind of took away from it is, asking the question, does it make us dumber? Or are we becoming a product of our environment, which we have done and adapted since caveman days? My response to that would be that for the first one, I agree with accepting technology and that there always has to be some damage done in the wake of technology being built. And I agree with that, but I think that AI is something completely different. That is not exactly the same as any other technology. And I can hear a lot of people that would be yelling at me through their screens saying, we said that about everything. People used to freak out when kids started reading books thinking that that was a sinful thing. But it's not the same as a language learning model that replicates human intelligence. And that's just my take on that. It's really hard for me to explain that in words. But the second thing, are we becoming products of our environment? I would venture to say when we get off this call, or, anybody, they can look up the study about, using GPS and what that has done to our intelligence. And I would venture to say, and this is just me, and, I do think that it's different than just adapting to our new technology and what world we're living in when we are relying on that to think for us as opposed to contributing to using it as a tool to assist us. Does that make it all bad? I don't think it does, but that's just my opinion, right? Like I think that's like.
Sorry, could I use the same? So the argument is, through technology, there's things I don't need to do, and it'll do it for me now. And
no,
I'm
no, because
GPS. Technology will do things that I used to have to do. I used to have to know where I was going to get around. Now technology can do things for me that I don't need to do. Therefore, I can just focus on driving the car. Just driving the car, not stressing about the right turn and the wrong turn and the right road and the wrong road, just focusing on driving the car. How Did you see my argument? It's the same thing as like I don't have the time
I
to clean my house.
do,
So if I pay a
but
cleaner, if I pay a cleaner to clean my house, that makes me stupider because I don't know how to clean my house anymore.
no, and that to me, there is a distinction between a language learning model, because I completely hear what you're saying. It doesn't make you stupider if you're, paying attention to GPS, and that frees up time for you, or like brain space for you to maybe even drive safer, right? Just
Absolutely.
because we have washing machines and we don't wring our clothing out by hand anymore, certainly no. That frees us up to do other things, and shoot, you could say that frees up time for you to learn and study more. Absolutely. But I still think that all those technologies are different from artificial intelligence, and the way that interacts with our minds and our hearts and our souls. But again, I am not saying that it's all bad. So first
Yeah.
of all,
So it's
I
a
have to,
human. So it's a human doing the GPS.
uh,
It's not a computer doing GPS as you drive through the car. When you have GPS on your phone telling you where to drive, that's a human doing that, is it? Not AI. There's no computer AI telling you where to turn left next. That's a human inside your phone telling you through the GPS, turn left here.
is it AI, or is it like programming fed by satellites, and it's not a language learning model? It's not artificial
It's
intelligence.
definitely, you're right. Correct. You're right. It's definitely not that, but you see my point.
I do. And I just really, I put AI in a different category
Totally get
than
that. Totally get that.
other technology. With that said, first of all, I have to tell you a real quick funny story. I had a friend over yesterday, and she was telling me about the maps thing. When she lived in California, she had a book with, maps in it. And she said they wouldn't even like correspond to where a road left off. You would have to find like 2 chapters over where that road kept going. And I was like, oh my gosh, that would
Yeah.
be awful.
Yeah, I do
um,
remember that.
but I've had somebody like get on to me because I used a picture in one of my videos. Now I am super careful. This is a personal choice, okay? This is not me saying nobody should use AI in their videos and their imagery and stuff like that. Um, because as you said, sometimes it can free you up to do other things, because it can do it a lot quicker, especially when you are a one-man show trying to do everything yourself. Like, people forget we don't have producers, we don't have a team of editors, we don't have script writers. So cut us some freaking slack. But I
Yeah.
used a picture one time in one of my videos that was just an anime picture of my husband and I driving, which went along with a storytelling that I was doing at the time. And I had somebody ask if that was AI generated. And I actually, trying to seek to understand, asked some questions in the comment section. And basically, they got to the point where they said, I would, just like to know if there's AI in the videos that I watch, so that I can make a consumer driven choice. And that, I think, is okay. And I do wonder if there is some room for discussion in regard to labeling AI content for consumer choice and consumer information. But I think we also need to take the tone and the rhetoric down on the other end of the equation with people who consume content, in not hating the creators or getting onto them, with this hateful vitriol that you're just an evil, soul-sucking person if you use it. But maybe we should give more consumer choices to the people that watch our videos. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think you make the perfect point though, which I totally agree with. I mean, so you want to make content to help a minority, a group of disabled people or people with different conditions, and that's all you're really doing it for. And it's not like a job where you get paid money, if any, and you use things to help you. And in doing so, people automatically forget every reason why you're doing anything and say, "Oh, but you use this to do this, so I'm out." If that's the case, then you shouldn't have been with us in the first place. You can just go now. That's my thought on that. The second thing is, just for the YouTube chat. There's maybe a misinterpretation. Did I say GPS is a large language model? No, I didn't. I said this idea you can separate AI from any new computerized or any new technology is wrong. You can't. So I understand they're all different. What I'm trying to say is, give me a spell, mate. If you go on YouTube and you're pushing on videos that it's told you'll like, and apparently you do because you're clicking on them, then you're telling me I can't use AI. Give me a spell, as in get stuffed. And I clearly understand GPS is not a large language model because I'm not a moron. And I've been doing this for almost 2.5 hours, so I'm going to start getting really agitated and shitty with people. But yeah, of course I didn't say that. What I'm saying is it's a technology. It's a new modern technology. Everything you're on, this entire thing we're doing right now is new technology, right? I'm using one platform to broadcast on 2 other platforms. People are watching it on 2 other platforms, chatting. Do you see what I'm saying? It's that's where I don't. That's where I kind of people seem to be able to pick and choose. They can separate. This is the line I draw where it's good, and this is the line I draw where it's bad. And I don't see that. And I can see the benefits in it for autistic kids, autistic adults, for people that need it as a tool. That's all. To me, that's all it is. It's not my friend. It's not the devil. It's a tool, and I can use it, and it improves my life. Like GPS to navigate where I'm going, right? Like all the things that we can use. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes, and I completely understand that, and it really can be helpful. Like I use the example of trying to figure out how to respond to an email. I think if you use it sparingly and you try not to rely on it let me not say you, let me say for me, the way I use AI is very sparingly, very, very, very sparingly. But if I was distraught on how to respond to an email and just needed a little push, I might use AI. If I had to make a really difficult phone call as an autistic person, maybe there might be room to ask AI like how I could address a difficult situation. If I went to family and friends first and they didn't have an answer for me, there are places for it, especially for those of us who have, communication difficulties in certain areas and social issues, whatever you call it, like you said, it's not all bad, it's not all good. Let's not draw a line in the sand. And like you said, just because you use an AI photo, so all the blood, sweat, and tears you've poured into your channel now is null and void. It's not worth anything. All the help that you've given to these people, I mean, until you have started a YouTube channel and understand how as with anything, right? We all pour blood, sweat, and tears into different things. This is not me saying like, you don't know how hard this is. This is not what I'm trying to say, because we all pour effort and energy into something. But the effort and energy that you pour into YouTube, I think, does kind of get lost in the sauce, that people don't understand the energy and the heart that you do pour into it, and how it does hurt, no matter how many followers you have, when somebody is mean to you online. We're not immune to that, and we do our best to help people. And I don't think that should all go flying out the window because you posted one AI photo. And it's really sad for some people that it can. Nothing else you said was worth it before then?
Yeah, and until you've at least given it a go as a way of using it as a tool to connect or navigate things in your day-to-day life, don't tell me it's not that. That's I would say that too, because I've actually experienced it to help my kid and navigate life, and it has been useful. What I want to bring up, the last thing I bring up, and then you can go and enjoy your life, is why is it as creative people we have to show our entire workflow? Do you find that ridiculous? It's like, oh, hang on a second. We need to know your entire workflow in creating a video. I must know what AI was used and where it was used, and then I'll say if I like your content or not. Well, hang on. If you watch the content and it connected with you and it helped you and you were able to get something out of it and maybe even pass on to other people and they got something out of it, then the job is done. You've engaged in a piece of content and it's helped you, or it didn't. Do you see what I'm saying? It's somehow the workflow for a creator is somehow more than the workflow into how your car was made, or who made what you're eating tonight, what went into it. There's no workflow in virtually anything else, but somehow with AI use, creators need to have, because that's not creating then. And again, this comes down to, well, then it's not creating if you used Photoshop, right? It's not creating if you used a computer of any kind.
Well, like I think I heard you saying a little bit ago that we're all, there's nothing new under the sun. We're all taking, ideas and inspiration from other people. And I do, but I think that it would be an interesting discussion to talk about consumer choice when consuming content. And I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm saying I think it would be an interesting conversation to consider for all media and content creators to maybe give consumers the choice about what they consume. And I hear you, right? Like, if you see how the sausage is made, like that's, do you want to eat the sausage anymore? I don't know. Maybe that would turn people off unnecessarily. And,
but no one's demanding it. No one's demanding it in the street. There's no pickets or hate crimes based on, you aren't displaying your workflow in public.
Yeah. No, right. Yeah, no, I get you. But I do understand why people feel the way they feel. My fear about it would be that because people feel so strongly about it, that they would just turn off of my work right away if I said I used an AI generated photo, one single AI generated photo, and it's like, but I have so many, helpful things to say or life experience. Like, you're gonna tune me out just because of this one AI photo I used. So that's where I get stuck. But I also do think that consumers should have a choice on what they consume. And I know, like, if you tell exactly how you made a movie, that ruins the magic. I get it. That's why I'm saying it, could probably be a discussion. I don't know. I don't know where I fall on that, but maybe people would be a little bit less angry and a little less fearful about, because I think there's also an element of people always feeling like they're deceived. I don't like being deceived, especially as autistic people. We don't like, when people try to deceive us. And so maybe if we were more transparent with it, people would be a little less angry about it and we could start to bring the temperature down. I don't know. These are just my thoughts.
Yeah. And I appreciate them. And honestly, like, thank you so much for jumping on. I really mean that. I'm so glad you did it and came on and said, hey, and I know you got a busy life. So thank you. It really means a lot. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Are we saying goodbye?
Yes, that's what we're doing.
All right. Do you want to consult ChatGPT before you let me go?
Oh, you got me. Nice.
Just kidding. Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Jen. I appreciate it. That was awesome. I think I'm going to try and talk to Alice now.
Oh, hey.
Do you want to? Hey, Alice. How are you?
I'm doing quite well, Orion. I just first want to say I'm really glad that you're doing this. It's very important that we have these conversations about the use of AI, and it's a very global conversation. Yeah, I'm calling from across the pond, so hello.
That's awesome. Just audio, right? We're just gonna hear your voice. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't have a camera, unfortunately.
Totally cool. All good.
So anyway, I am currently a paraeducator, and I am trying to get my degree to be a SPED teacher. describe myself as neurospicy. I'm not sure if I already said that, but I'm actually in the middle of a tech ethics class, which is it's kind of brilliant
Awesome.
that your stream popped up on my feed today of all days.
I love that. That's great. Well, what have you got to share with us then?
Oh my goodness. So the first one I did, I was basically role playing as the CEO of a company where I was supposed to like weigh the pros and cons of new technologies, and I talked a bit about vibe coding and and uh, and I wanted to address generative AI with how you really need to make sure that whatever it is you're getting is actually accurate. There's a lot of examples where generative sorry, I'm gonna say Gen AI just gives you an answer that is pulled completely out of the air. I don't know if anybody over on YouTube watches Council of Geeks, but they put out a video talking about a situation where Google was misreporting that the channel was no longer active, and that there was like controversy. It was like mishmashing all of this stuff that had been happening to other channels and attributing it to this channel because it didn't actually know the answer.
Wow.
And
okay.
yeah, I'm not necessarily against the use of large language models as a technology, but I really think that there's been kind of a slapdash approach to this whole thing. You've got copywritten works being slurped up and reshuffled, and just there's no accountability. And I find that extremely troubling. There's also I recently learned that there are some places that are buying up like rare copies of old books and just cutting the spines off to feed them through these machines to scan them in, and that hurts something very visceral in my soul to know that books are being destroyed in the name of generative AI. And like I really wish that that current models could distinguish between real facts and like people's opinions. Like Gen AI, like large language models, are never going to be able to like pick up on sarcasm. I mean, sarcasm is hard enough for us humans.
Yeah. Well, it's harder for autistic people.
Yeah, and I guess to sum up, like over the course of 3 papers, I was just like, I would rather that the use of Gen AI be explicit in that people are like, yeah, I use Gen AI for this. Like it's almost akin to being a vegetarian, in that people want to avoid the meat that is AI, and it'd be nice to like not advertise that your chocolate chip cookies don't have like beef tallow in it.
Okay, yeah, but it's
Yeah.
fascinating. It's fascinating you mentioned that though, because so for example, I'm just a dude who took a photo of myself and made a quick little anime picture as a fun little thing, because I thought it was kind of a fun little thing to do. I don't know. Number one, I just don't know that it's broken down into 500 different types. When you use an LLM to do something like that, and also this idea that everyone wants to know the 500 different types. So, for example, if I said, I just asked ChatGPT to make an anime picture of me, here it is, right? That's still not satisfying your requirement. I'm not saying you're saying anything wrong. I'm saying this is where it just becomes, to me, it's too much. It's too much. It's like, not only do I have to say I used AI to make an anime picture, which is so strange to me, but I have to tell you what type of AI it is, as in generative AI, which to me, there's no such thing. There's just AI. I use AI and I do a thing. Some people don't care, some people care, and some people want to know exactly the type. And then it's like we're getting one product, which is the one app I used, and we're breaking it down into 7 different things that it does and saying some are good and some are bad. But it's all part of the same app. That's where it gets confusing, I think, for either people who don't know or people who don't care. And it's like when you use a vegetarian example, if I put meat in a burger and I call it vegetarian, that's a problem, right? But making a picture and posting it on a social media platform, and having to say I used AI to make this, or what type of AI I used, I think is so far away from having a beef burger and calling it vegan, or having to say this is a vegan burger because it contains no meat. I don't see how it's remote. Those two things are like remotely connected.
Well, I guess the thing I was trying to say was that like maybe we want to have an approach where we're being like, we label that this is an actual verified photo, you know?
Yeah, but an anime cartoon of me. What do you mean? How would that be verified? Like it's an AMI cartoon. It's a cartoon picture of me as an anime character. How is that?
Oh.
So, do you mean this is a verified artwork made by a real human artist? Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Yeah, something like that.
But you understand the difference, though, right? When, like, if we're talking about a picture of me as an anime cartoon character, that verifying that, to me, it doesn't occur to me in my brain, because it's not me. It's clearly not me.
Yeah.
It's a cartoon picture of me. Do you see what I'm saying? That's where I find that confusing.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. You're saying, well, I'd at least like to be able to look at a post of yours and it say this post was created with AI or not. I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But in saying that, that's a workflow. That's a workflow thing, which, in my opinion, is more like a private business practice, rather than, for example, like I said before, this is not you, but if you walked into a supermarket and bought sausages, it doesn't say on the front of the sausage packet, scan this barcode for a video on the exact workflow of how we made sausages. You probably don't want to know. Not you, but they would still buy it and eat them. Yet because I'm creating something and posting it on a platform, you need to see my entire workflow from start to end. And that's a private business practice. I don't need to show you that. But of course, it's to you personally, it's important, because then you'll know if you want to consume it or not. No, I totally get that point. I just think it's strange that it's only being kind of asked for in this environment, given this environment is purely an online technology environment. If that makes I guess that's where my confusion can come from sometimes.
Yeah, I think I'm just worried that people are going to confuse AI generated content with reality.
Okay.
Like, there's issues of like you got like people's grandparents being like, oh look, it's somebody made a sandcastle out of shrimp. Or this giant statue made of old cans, and it's like obviously fabricated.
or the town is burning down and I've got to leave my house right now. Like that, like actually news reports that aren't real. Basically, that can happen. And that's dangerous.
Yeah, I've seen videos like that.
I totally
gosh.
get it. I totally get it. That's absolutely dangerous. And that makes total sense. And that's a bigger, broader question, right, with regards to the use of it and the safety of it. And I couldn't agree more, because honestly, sometimes you'll be consuming content, and you honestly, no one believes the news anymore because they don't know if this is a real news story or a fake news story, because of how often there's these AI generated fake news stories, and they're all mixed up in the same thing, and that's where it becomes confusing, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind AI being used for like personal assistance. Helping people stay organized. There's a channel here on YouTube that I think was ADHD Chatter or something like that, and they're always talking about this one app where you just like talk to it and it makes notes for you and sets calendar reminders. Like, I personally wouldn't use it because there's a personal squick factor that I still haven't gotten over for stuff like that. Everything you say to an AI is going to be, fed back into their machine, and I am not comfortable with that. But if it helps somebody else, I'm not going to stop them.
No, and I agree with what you're saying too. And I think from one of the main points I've ever really only said is, it seems like a really incredible tool to be used by a particular group that I'm a part of, which is a neurodivergent group. It seems like it has a really great day-to-day use as a tool. But that's what it is. Again, I don't think it's a friend or a person or a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's a really great new usable tool that can really enhance the day-to-day life of neurodivergent people. And I think that's probably that's probably the only thing I've only ever said, right? Like, that's probably my only opinion ever. And that's why I think it was confusing to me. I couldn't understand why you would make a cartoon character picture of yourself, and that would create such an issue. I certainly didn't say in the post, "Hey guys, look what I just drew." Right? Does that make sense? Yeah.
I think I actually missed that part of the stream. I must have been several minutes back when I got pulled out of the queue.
Yeah, no, I mean, but this is what's, I think this is obviously the great part of talking to people about it, because I just find it just such a fascinating conversation and discussion, and because we are right at the start of it, really, aren't we? We're really right in the infancy of this whole experience and discussion, and who knows where it's headed. I mean, obviously you're learning about it now, and I guess even that in itself is, shows how new this all is.
Yeah. I really hope that the people in charge of developing these apps, I want them to be mindful of where they're going with all this, because there's issues for people living in vicinity of data centers. I think it was like the low frequency, hum, can be extremely bothersome, and I don't want to get caught up in the weeds here, but just I really want people developing this technology to do so without forgetting the human.
Yeah, absolutely. And the same sentiment obviously went to car manufacturers 50 years ago and to airline companies 30 years ago, right?
Yeah, and see where that got us.
Exactly. No, it's a great point. And also, presumably the people that have a passion and an obsession about the environment and preserving the environment, which is a fantastic thing to do, and they want clean energy and green energy, but then there are people who live too close to wind turbines whose lives are badly affected. The people who think wind turbines are fantastic energy, clean, safe energy, and are great for the environment don't care, but the people that live close to them who can't, live nice anymore, have a different opinion. So it's funny how it happens in every new thing, right?
Yeah, like there's always going to be some kind of disruption when a new technology comes on the scene, and like we're feeling it especially fast because of how interconnected humanity has gotten. Like you and I are talking from complete opposite ends of the planet right now, which is like that was unheard of like even 100 years ago.
It's good, right? It's not. This is not bad. This is an incredible thing to be able to do.
Like we got to pay attention to where we are and where we're going, and I really want humanity to continue. I should probably wrap it up soon, but I really appreciate you giving me a chance to speak, and thank you for hosting this conversation. It is sorely needed.
Yeah, well, it's meant everything to me to hear you and your thoughts, Alice. And thank you so much for your patience and your time today. And I really appreciate it. It's been.
I feel lucky to be here.
No, I'm grateful for you. So thank you, Alice. Have a fantastic night. I believe it's nighttime where you are. It's lunch for me, but I believe that's.
It's about dinner time for us.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Cheers, mate.
All right. See you, mate. Bye.
Bye.
Mango, how are you?
I'm okay. Oh, I've got an echo. Hold on, I'll get some headphones. Yes, so hello, fellow Australian person. I live in WA.
And we're just doing audio, right?
Oh yeah. If that's okay with you.
Yeah, totally, 100% fine. So, what would you? The floor is yours. Please go for it.
Okay, I'll lie on the floor. So I've been listening a little bit to all your conversations, and there was just you definitely have a good point, and it's a really hard topic, isn't it? Really complicated topic. To give some context, I am a cartoonist, as well as a sort of small-time journalist. I make unconventional music on the side as well. So I'm basically all the things.
So you could not be more affected. You could not be more affected than pretty much everyone else. I would have thought everything you do could not be more affected or at risk than exactly what we're talking about. So please give us an absolute. Okay. Also, let me say, by the way, I want you to go, but I just need to quickly ask you this quick question. When I go into GPT, take a picture, say, could you just make an anime picture of me just for fun? I'll share it on some social just for a bit of a laugh. That's it. I'm not going to sell it to people or try to say it's me. If I've done something wrong, I'm very sorry. I hope I haven't offended you. I'm very sorry, but I genuinely didn't see the harm or the issue in that. And what did I do wrong? Well, what is the harm or the issue? I want you to be genuinely serious with me.
Well, it's tricky because no one can give context, whether it's you posting it or the person looking at it. The context that you've given me now tells me that it was a quick sort of fun experiment, and you're not going to earn any money from it and all that. But the overall sort of I guess the other side, the anger that comes off of social media towards that is really deep. And it's like when you see something like that as an artist, you're not just thinking, oh, I don't like that person. That person's done something I don't like. It's more a wider concern that you are making it a norm, and you think it's a norm, and everyone is changing. The big change thing is a big concern. Obviously, what you've talked about, the financial aspect. Whenever I see a AI poster, it's very uncomfortable. Not only because sometimes it's very visually uncomfortable, like with the uncanny valley stuff, but also because, I have worked in that area. I've tried to work in that area. I've did university and all that stuff. And many of my friends have worked in graphic design and animation. And, I think the biggest thing is throughout my whole life, and this goes back to, I don't know if you've talked about special interests yet. And I find it interesting, it's such a deep thing, because you were talking about, replacing having cars and stuff like that. And there would have been people whose, in the past, special interest was part of building that, everyone has their own, you can't really choose what your special interest might be. And some people are lucky enough that their interests are economically viable and they can make their lives feel almost normal. You know what I mean? Like the less struggle. So what AI's come and done is it's done a lot of wiping of that. You know what I mean? Like all the writers and the graphic designers and all that, the storyboardists, the illustrators, like I know there's a lot of autistic people who are creative in that area. And those people will be losing work, like a massive amount of work. Because I used to do posters. I used to do posters for events, and I wasn't even a successful person doing that. And now I'm at zero. You know what I mean? Like some people were successful, and now they're like at, I'll do 2 posters a year. If that's their special interest or something around those areas, it's going to be a lot harder for them to find other work and even dive into, what they say, we could go into new AI-related jobs. It's just not that easy for an autistic person, No,
I totally. It would be incredibly hard. Not only for a normal person, a regular neurotypical person, all the retraining and education, and even just the want. But then when you add, neurodivergence, it creates a whole nother another layer. And in effect, like you've said, through time, this happens, doesn't it? Like there are occupations or there are passions and interests that become monetizable through time, which no longer are occupations or jobs or have been taken by. So, for example, the industrial age, it wasn't AI, it was machines. Like men and women lost their jobs to machines. The industrial age, right? It just happened. And now there's a new one where we can, not only the machines losing the jobs and the humans losing the jobs, but it's being lost to a whole different form of technology. And clearly you are specifically in a core group of people. And I mean, being a creator, it clearly will impact me too. But, with podcasts and videos and books and all this kind of stuff, we are we're kind of right in the ground zero center of what's at stake. And the issue here is what do you expect the world to do for us? What are they going to do? Like people aren't going to go back to buying printed newspapers in the millions every day and reading them because people don't want to do that anymore. Or people aren't going to go.
I actually make a free newspaper as part of a community, and that's one of the things that's kind of bothered me to begin with, was that when I think of a community newspaper, I think of authenticity, local people's stories. But even that has AI draining into it, sort of articles and posters. And to me, it's like getting an email that just doesn't have any soul. But back to what you were saying, I want to be clear though. AI, this new big rise of AI and Gen AI, there's I see benefits, of course, and I think regulations, I know they're starting to do some sort of regulations. It's like a whole bunch of good and evil. And so when I was a kid, I remember being on the bus, and I was thinking to myself, imagine if I could just sort of sit here and ask any question in my brain and get an answer, just a random question about anything in the world. And now that exists. It's incredible, but there's really no regulation to it. You know, where does all this information come from? It's all, for the most part, stolen content. It's I would probably, you know, switch it off, even though it's beneficial. But anyway, going back to I want to just say one or two positives that I've experienced. The one, well, I use it a lot to value my my stuff. So if I I go op shopping, I'll value something through the Google AI thing. And this one is very controversial. So it's not it's not a recommendation, but at one point I was learning about a possible urgent a medical issue with a family member, and the doctor was not giving any information. They only gave the worst case scenario and then disappeared. And so in an absolute freak moment of absolute stress, I went to AI, and AI gave me, at least 4 different options that were not fatal. And that put my myself at rest and my mind at rest. And then it ended up being one of those non-fatal things. So that is, there's so many positives to the technology, but it's such a wide spectrum. Like somebody said to me that it's a bit like, the invention of the calculator. I think it's really good for if it works properly. Sometimes it lies, but if it worked properly, it's good for people with dyslexia and things like that. It has these positives. But as an artist, coming from an emotional place and an economic place, it's just not a good thing for me.
Yeah, and I totally hear you. I just want to ask you a question based on a comment. So someone in the YouTube chat just said, "I'm glad I stuck in there, as this guy," they're talking about you, "can voice a side that may help Orion understand the outrage he felt from people online." Now, for starters, I don't think I'm deserving of people, spewing outrage and hate and unfollow towards me because I posted a picture. I think that's kind of stupid. But the comment is a great comment because what you're saying now, because what you're saying and what you do. Now, here's my issue, right? The first thing to that comment is, well, in fact, I already knew that because I'm a creator. I wrote a book. I do videos. I already know how AI can impact creative people. I didn't need you or the people being hateful on social, not you, to remind me or tell me that. So I'm glad you hung in here too. But you're not teaching me anything I don't know. Of course I know that, and of course I know that I could have emailed you, paid you money, and you could have drawn an anime cartoon picture of me and I could have posted on Instagram. But I wasn't trying to enter into a transaction to get a professional to draw a picture that I can therefore on-sell to people. It was just for shits and giggles, right? It was for shits and giggles. And so I haven't learned anything new. I already knew that was an issue. And I think and I have an autistic brain, and I'm not going to apologize to people for being autistic or having an autistic brain. And my autistic brain is stronger logically than emotionally. That's how an autistic brain is set up. And my autistic brain says, welcome to the real world. You're just another person with a passion or a job who's been put out of business by someone or something. And I don't mean that in a rude way. I mean, go through history, mate. Not you. I'm saying life in general. And that's how life works. Everything has been killed by something else. And this idea that because of that, that we can't, no one's allowed to use it because it's going to impact you. Number one, that's horrible. And I'm sorry about that. And it's not cool. And I get it. And I don't want that to happen to you. But I'm also a creative person and I've got to navigate it too. But my logical brain, I can't allow it to get past this logical, black and white, concrete, matter-of-fact thing that says, yes, but that's the truth. That's the reality. There's a book that's 1 billion years old called Who Moved My Cheese? I don't know if you've heard of it, but the basic premise of it is, the mouse gets up every day and eats its cheese. It knows exactly where to go to get the cheese. It's there every day. One day it goes there, the cheese is not there. Two mice decide, what are we going to do? One mouse says, I'm going back to the same place every day. The cheese will turn up. The other mouse says, forget this. I'm looking for a new place and new cheese. The mouse that decides to keep looking for new cheese and a new place finds a new place with new cheese, more cheese, abundant cheese. The other mouse dies because it kept going back to the same place where there's no longer any cheese, and it dies. There's no cheese. It's dead. It's over.
It does sound like me.
That's the parable. That's the parable or the principle of the book called Who Moved My Cheese. I didn't write the book. It's not my book. I'm just sharing a parable. It's just a story, a way of understanding how my brain views these types of things. So in no way am I saying, oh, I'm so happy, I'm so happy, Mango, that, that you're getting put out of business. Of course I'm not. But I can't stop it. And also this idea that, you're sitting on the bus and you're asking questions, and that's incredible, but it's also a bit creepy. And then people use the internet to say you shouldn't use that or it's bad. They've forgotten the fact that it's nothing without the internet. And you've been using the internet to ask questions that give you the wrong answers for 20 years, maybe longer. But the internet's not getting the hate. That's where I find the most confusion comes in when people bring up different arguments. Because in fact, AI is nothing without the internet, and people were using the internet and asking it questions and getting bullshit answers and misinformation and stealing people's stuff when the internet launched decades before AI was ever even thought of. And that's where I find you can't pick one or the other. It's everything. We can wipe it all out. Let's just go back to the dark ages and wipe it all out, and we'll be all sweet. People will buy newspapers that are made with print that goes all over your fingers, and they'll read them on the bus. But that's not where we are in 2026. And I guess that's where, and that's the most fascinating insight into how this is. It's just, I find it incredible how we can draw lines in one thing and pick what's good and what's bad. But again, that's just kind of where my brain's thinking. I'm not meaning it like rude or offensive way. I'm just like how my brain is kind of seeing things. I hope that made sense. It wasn't about you. I hope you don't take it personally or anything.
No, I think that's I think in a sense you're kind of lucky because it's like it's a safe way of thinking, getting ready, being okay with overall world change. For me, it's a bit of a right, the right or wrong thing. I forgot what it's called. But yeah, this energy
sense
and
of
anger.
justice. Do you mean like a sense of justice?
Yes, it comes into that. And when I'm among people who are using AI, like I know someone who is actually an author, but they use AI for their journalism. And that just confuses me because the authenticity is possible there, but they're not using it. What I just wanted to say about the reaction that you got, because online I will respond if I see an AI poster for an event or something. I will respond with nothing mean, but I'm quick, and I just say, because I just don't have the energy, I'll say, look, it looks like AI. It looks like a good thing, but that's AI. I'm not a fan. So I'll say that. I'm not nasty or anything. But then some people will say, move on with the times, whatever else. But the reason that I do that, and I do that quite a bit, and I'm sure people who are responding to you, is because there's so many reasons and emotional things and the justice thing that come into play, including the environment, everything that's been told to you on this talk, on this podcast, whatever it is. Everything is in there. Everything's in their brain, and they cannot teach you because it's so generalized now. AI has become such a normal part of business and people's lives already so quickly, including images, including posters and anime images, all that sort of thing, that people who are frustrated with not just change, it's the environment, it's the stealing of jobs, it's the stealing of content, it's just the uncanny valley of it, and most importantly for a lot of artists, is the authenticity behind sort of the drawn line and the emotional. Like, you go to a museum. When you go to a museum, you see these bits of art, and you may or may not appreciate them, but the people that do can kind of see where it's come from, what those lines sort of represent from those artists. And when I see a graphic design, a poster, even a logo of a business, this is just the way I think. When I see a logo of a business, I think, wow, there's some good ideas in there. They've done the colors right. They've shaped it right. It sells it well. It's clear. It's cute. I think of all these different things. And that all comes from a person. And I can tell. And a lot of people can tell. A lot of people can't tell, though. And that's important, because that's why it's so spread now. A lot of people would see your image you posted and automatically know a human didn't do that. And so there's some sort of automatic thing against that, I think, in us anyway. But that's what I'm trying to say. That I think a lot of people who are angry and people who will comment straight up quickly saying, no, don't like that, it's AI. They're people that they can't give you a whole lesson in everything they're feeling and everything they know. And just everything bad about Gen AI cannot be told in a single sentence. And so people get angry or just say something quickly and move on and are frustrated. And I think that might be the answer to your question.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, it's probably the absolute best possible way I could, end the stream with your thoughts and feelings, because they've absolutely 100% resonated with me. And I think you're 1,000% correct. And I've mentioned this before to people, but do you realize, for me personally, this isn't like a big passion of mine, and I actually don't know yet, let alone differentiate using an AI platform, an LLM or whatever, LLM, to Gen AI, if it's available in the app. Like, if I click on an AI app and I make a picture, that's just using an AI app to make a picture. Like, I don't differentiate with I'm using Gen AI. Does that make sense? Where that's a particular type of AI that may really offend people. It's almost like there's a circle. This one here is bad. This one here is okay. This one here I'm not so sure about. That's too much for me. For me, it's just like either I use it or I don't, because early on I realized that in general terms, using AI apps can be really helpful as a support tool, or as a tool to navigate certain situations I'm bad at, like neurodivergent to neurotypical communication and that type of stuff. And that's how I see it. And it's as part of the overall thing it provides. So in many ways, different people are on different wavelengths and have completely different ways of looking at the same thing.